Welcome to a world where family secrets, hidden betrayals, and shocking twists turn everyday life into an unforgettable drama. Here, fortunes ignite envy, and what seems like loyalty can hide the sharpest knife. Witness how a single inheritance can shatter trust, unravel polished facades, and reveal the lengths a sibling will go for power. Feel the tension of carefully guarded truths that tip the scales of control, exposing vulnerabilities and igniting plans no one saw coming. Experience confrontations that leave hearts racing, alliances crumbling, and emotions spilling over in a storm of heartbreak, cunning, and revenge. Every story uncovers raw human emotions, testing the limits of morality, love, and loyalty in ways that will keep you hooked. If you crave stories full of suspense, twists, and unforgettable family drama, you're in the right place, because here, every secret has a consequence. The news of the $17 million inheritance spread quietly at first, a whisper that hovered over the family like a storm waiting to break. What once felt like warmth and familiarity slowly turned cold, each smile hiding calculation, each word carrying an unspoken agenda. Old grievances that had been buried for years started surfacing, sharpened by envy and the sudden realization that fortunes could shift the balance of power in the family. Conversations that once seemed casual became tests, probing for hints, trying to measure reactions, as though every gesture might reveal hidden knowledge about the inheritance. Loyalty became a currency, and no one could be trusted, not even those whose love had seemed unwavering. The polished facade of family gatherings cracked under the weight of silent resentment, revealing faces twisted with desire, greed, and jealousy that had festered far too long. Even in quiet moments, tension hung in the air, as if the walls themselves whispered secrets of betrayal. A husband's subtle shifts in behavior, the way his eyes lingered on conversations, hinted at alliances no one was supposed to know. There were nights spent replaying words and gestures, deciphering the meaning behind glances, wondering if trust had ever truly existed. Every relationship became a battleground, every interaction a potential trap. Plans were whispered in private corners, promises made with hidden clauses, all designed to edge closer to what was not theirs. Old letters and forgotten messages resurfaced, suddenly loaded with new significance, twisting memories into weapons. The weight of the inheritance wasn't just financial, it was emotional, poisoning every connection, revealing fractures that had always been there but were invisible until now. Even in small gestures, sharing a meal, laughing at a story, carried suspicion because nothing remained innocent. Each revelation of greed or dishonesty only fueled a quiet, simmering desire to expose the truth and reclaim control. The more shadows in the family's past came to light, the clearer it became that the inheritance had done more than shift wealth. It had unearthed the true nature of those closest, forcing every secret, betrayal, and hidden ambition into the open. And when the final truth surfaced, it left no room for pretense, no chance for reconciliation, only the stark realization that some families are fractured by greed long before fortune ever intervenes. Trust crumbled faster than anyone could have anticipated, replaced by suspicion that lingered in every word and gesture. The sister who once shared laughter and secrets now moved with calculated precision, eyes sharp and smiles sharper, as though every action was measured to gain the upper hand. The $17 million inheritance had awakened a hunger that was both shocking and terrifying, and it became painfully clear that love alone could not anchor the bonds of family when greed took root. Behind closed doors, conversations took on a different weight. Subtle comments were dropped, questions asked with too much interest, and every attempt to deflect or remain neutral was met with a scrutinizing gaze that seemed to pierce right through. Hidden agendas surfaced like ghosts of past betrayals, and what had seemed harmless, an offer to help, a friendly suggestion, was nothing but manipulation in disguise. The sisters' ambitions were no longer secret, they were a quiet, dangerous storm, threatening to upend every relationship built on trust. Even moments of intimacy with the husband were tinged with tension, as his own reactions betrayed unease. Certain glances, hushed tones, the way he lingered over family discussions hinted at alliances that no one admitted, loyalties that were tested and bent to selfish wills. Secrets became weapons, and small revelations twisted into leverage, turning ordinary family life into a chessboard of deceit. Every plan made in secrecy seemed to unravel slowly, exposing layers of ambition and treachery that had been hidden beneath polite smiles and casual greetings. The sisters' reach extended further than anticipated, and the constant weighing of every word, every action became exhausting. Even trust between the husband and the rest of the family was fractured, as loyalties shifted quietly in the shadows, revealing motives that had been hidden for years. It became impossible to ignore the way greed reshaped personalities, twisting kindness into calculation and affection into strategy. Each day brought new signs of betrayal, and each discovery deepened the understanding that some family members would stop at nothing to claim what wasn't theirs. The inheritance had not only revealed the sisters' true nature, but had exposed cracks in every relationship, forcing a reckoning that could not be undone. And in the quiet aftermath, it was clear that once trust is broken, some wounds are impossible to mend. The carefully hidden truths had always been there, tucked away in the shadows of whispered conversations and forgotten memories, waiting for the right moment to surface. Every family had its secrets, but some were lethal in their potential to shift power, to expose weaknesses no one knew existed. What seemed like small, inconsequential facts suddenly carried the weight of strategy, each revelation capable of tilting the balance in a game where morality was optional and loyalty was tested at every turn. As the layers peeled back, long-held vulnerabilities came into view, and it became clear that every relationship had been built on a fragile foundation. The husband, whose quiet demeanor once suggested stability, now revealed cracks in his allegiance. Certain habits, unexplained absences, the subtle way he avoided questions, each small piece hinted at deeper betrayals, secrets that had been carefully guarded, and a life that had been compartmentalized with precision. It was astonishing to realize how easily the past could become a weapon, how the truth, once uncovered, could rearrange the dynamics of everyone involved. Each revelation sparked a subtle shift, nudging control away from those who had believed themselves untouchable and placing it squarely into the hands of someone who had learned to wait patiently. Plans began to form in silence, measured and deliberate, taking advantage of the cracks in character and the blind spots created by arrogance and trust misplaced. The inheritance, while still central, became secondary to the real power unlocked through knowledge. Even casual interactions became laden with tension as hidden motives collided with exposed truths. A smile could be a trap, a question a probe, a gesture a test. The husband's reactions, once reassuring, now hinted at alliances and betrayals too complex to untangle in a single glance. Every move became strategic, every revelation a step closer to reclaiming authority, while exposing the web of manipulation that had long gone unnoticed. It was a lesson in patience, in understanding the weight of secrets, and in realizing that revenge was not just an act of retaliation, it was a calculated response, honed over months, sometimes years, waiting for the precise moment to strike. And when the first pieces fell into place, it became impossible to deny that truth, once uncovered, carried a power far greater than any fortune. Everything that had been carefully controlled, every secret and calculated move, suddenly collided with the unpredictable chaos of fate. Ordinary family gatherings became arenas for confrontation, where a single comment could ignite old grudges, and hidden betrayals were revealed with stunning clarity. Even those who thought themselves untouchable found that ambition had a cost, and the delicate balance of power could shift in an instant. The husband's composed demeanor faltered in ways no one expected. Subtle alliances formed and dissolved in the blink of an eye, exposing loyalties that had been assumed permanent. Each revelation carried a weight that forced confessions, apologies, or denials that rang hollow against the undeniable truth. What had once been hidden, carefully compartmentalized fears, resentments, and desires, now stood exposed, raw and unfiltered, transforming the quiet rhythm of family life into a tempest of emotion. Shocking betrayals surfaced where they had never been suspected. Friends and relatives who had seemed neutral suddenly displayed intentions that were cruelly self-serving, and every action carried consequences that rippled through the family with relentless force. Plans long in motion finally met their moments of reckoning, revealing who had been patient and cunning and who had underestimated the lengths to which secrets could be used to reclaim power. Every interaction, from shared meals to casual visits, became charged with tension. The past, long buried, resurfaced in the form of letters, overlooked documents, and whispered reminders of promises broken. Each revelation magnified the heartbreak, exposing cracks not only in relationships, but also in morality and the boundaries of love. Even the inheritance, once thought to be the source of conflict, became secondary to the far more volatile forces of greed, jealousy, and vengeance that had been simmering beneath the surface for years. By the time the final confrontation arrived, the family that had once seemed united was fractured beyond repair. The cumulative effect of ambition, manipulation, and betrayal left no room for denial, and the emotional fallout was impossible to ignore. The husband's hidden motives, the sister's relentless pursuit, and the exposure of every carefully guarded secret converged in a moment that would forever change the course of their lives. In the end, it was clear that no fortune, no secret, and no strategy could prevent the inevitability of consequences when ambition collided with fate. Thank you for diving into this whirlwind of family secrets, shocking betrayals, and unexpected twists. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that uncovers hidden ambitions, raw emotions, and unforgettable drama. Share your thoughts in the comments. Whose secret shocked you the most? Stay tuned, because the next story promises even deeper secrets, more cunning plans, and twists that will leave you breathless.